March in the year 2021. This is the assignment. My name is Calvin Tabula Chifokolo. Now, the issue of political inclusion and representation has been a fierce topic of discussion in Zambia for a long time now. However, since Zambia's independence 56 years ago, marginalized groups have continued to face discrimination and exclusion from political and public life. This has restricted them from participating in society on an equal basis. Although there are provisions that ensure the political inclusion of marginalized groups in the Constitution, they are minimal, poorly implemented, and not enforced. Specifically, women, youths, and persons with disabilities have been excluded from politics in Zambia. The lack of political representation, exclusion from political decision-making, and limited influence in policy-making processes has led marginalized groups of being misrepresented and underrepresented. The topic of discussion this evening on the assignment is what electoral system best suits Zambia. And my guest on the program is Mr. Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia, which is also a member of the Zambia Federation of Disability, ZAFOD. My guest is visually impaired. Mr. Bwale, good evening and welcome to this assignment.
Good evening, moderator. I'm really excited being here to discuss this very important issue pertaining to we persons with disabilities who have been marginalized.
Thank you so much. Those of you that are joining the conversation using a Muvi TV decoder, yours is channel 1. And those of you that are watching us on a Top Star decoder, yours is channel 104. Whereas to those that are on Facebook, yours is Ask Muvi. Remember to drop your comments as well as your questions. And my guest on the program, Mr. Bwale, will be able to respond to the questions or concerns that we have under the topic, what electoral system best suit Zambia. Mr. Bwale, we are in the COVID era. Bring us to speed. Has COVID-19 spared the people living with disabilities or the people like yourself who is visually impaired?
I tell you, it hasn't spared us, but to begin with, I would like, first of all, to make people understand, our viewers, those who are following us, watching us using different platforms, so they understand what ZAFOD is. ZAFOD is not a political organization. ZAFOD is a disability organization which is there to demand and protect the rights of persons with disabilities like myself here and the other people that you know with disabilities, for they have been marginalized for a long period of time. This organization, ZAFOD, has not less than 15 member organization countrywide, and it has been in existence from 1985. And we have done a lot of work as ZAFOD, and we are yet to do more. Like you have seen, I'm here today seated in this nice couch discussing this issue. Coming to the issue of COVID-19, we have not been spared. The fact is that we are seriously hit because like we are discussing issues to do with marginalization. A good number of our members have been marginalized because where they are even giving out these sanitizers, the face masks, the relief foods, our members are not getting access to that because this is being done where there are crowds or at a distance place. So for those who are blind, who is going to take them there? For everyone is afraid of this COVID. For those who are using wheelchairs, how are they going to get there? So it is a challenge, and we are just winding up the rainy season. The roads are not very good for some of our members when they are using the crutches, because they are lifting their weights, and some roads in some compounds are not very okay. So it is a challenge. So it is for that reason that we are asking to be part and parcel of the decision making, and we are not asking, it is our right. Thank you.
When you say the COVID-19 has not spared people living with disabilities, you have the organization, the way you put it, ZAFOD, which has been in existence for years, and you're also representing an organization which is also part of ZAFOD.
Yes.
When you say you've been left behind, you're not being considered, Have you made efforts to relevant authorities so that you may be included, and the people that are living with disabilities are also, given the necessary tools to fight COVID-19?
That is very much a very much important question. For instance, the deaf, do they have access to the correct and the right information? Some of my friends who are deaf, they were saying, no, you don't need to sit very close to someone who is able to talk, because they splash a lot of saliva, you will get COVID. That's what they have been telling each other. But that information may be true, but it's not about them keeping themselves away from others, whereby they are not even coming out to do what they can and be able to put the food, food on the table. Do we need to have them dead of hunger? No. We need them to be supported with the right information, easy to read and understand. So the formats must be, information in these formats must be provided. But the challenge has been that they don't have this information. For instance, if you are running an advert on COVID, you find that some adverts, they'll be silent and someone will just say, COVID is dangerous. What has been happening behind, I do not know as a blind person. All I just hear is COVID is dangerous. What message am I going to get from that? And what action am I going to apply? You see, so it is subjective. It is me now to make a decision of what I'm going to do with that message. And because we do not have we are not part of the decision making, you find that people are making decisions are not thinking about us. We are the first to be forgotten and the last to be remembered. When we talk about it, we are told, no, it was just an oversight. So now, should we suffer because of oversights? For how long are we going to remain in that corner without being heard? It is only us who can tell a better story about ourselves and not any other person. I cannot ask the fish on how the monkey lives on the tree, because the fish has never been on the tree. So it is us to be involved in the political systems of this nation so that we can be able to contribute to the well-being of our nation in all the spheres, because Zambia belongs to all of us.
My guest on the program is Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of a new foundation of the blind in Zambia. He is also visually impaired, or is a blind man. Now, Mr. Bwale, the current state of parliament that we have, the composition, we have, you are representing the marginalized, and in the marginalized, you've got the women, you've got youths and people living with disabilities like yourself. Now, the current composition of parliament is that we have, 3 members of parliament who are youths, which represents 1.8%. We have the women, we are 26, representing 16%, and we have people living with disabilities, 3, which is also 1.8%. And the electoral system, or the system that we've been using, is first past the post. Okay, and now you are here talking about mixed member electoral system.
Yes.
Tell us, why are you championing the mixed member electoral system?
Yes, thank you very much. This system, the first past the post, we are not opposing it, but it has failed us. It has really failed us as the people who are marginalized. Because look at the percentages that you have just talked about. 1.8% for the youths, which is just three youths in parliament. Is that fair? How many youths do vote during the voting time? There are so many. Persons with disabilities, for your own information, we have not less than 2.3 eligible voters in this country. Women, 16%. Who are the majority amongst all of us in the country? We have the women and the youths. But why do we have them in less numbers? Amongst persons with disabilities, we've got the women and the youths. Why do we have persons who are marginalized in less numbers? Do we want to continue to have them as marginalized? Is that what we really want as a country called a Christian nation? The SDGs are telling us, say, leaving no one behind. But forget not that persons with disabilities are left behind, are being left behind. So what we want is a change in whatever we do. Once we change what we do and the way we implement our laws and say, let us include persons with disabilities through the mixed member electoral system, which is not going to delete the first past the post. We are not saying that first past the post should be removed. Let it be, people are used with it. But let us introduce the mixed member electoral system, which we feel it will accept and allow persons with disabilities or the marginalized be there in parliament and be able to contribute to the well-being of our nation, because mixed member electoral system, the way we have looked at it ourselves, we are saying in each and every province of this country, who have one person with a disability who come through the mixed member electoral system. If the political parties have to bring in other persons with disabilities through the mainstream, we don't have a problem. That will be on our advantage as persons with disabilities, because the numbers will grow. And we are not demanding so much. We are not demanding so much because we have seen that using the first past the post, we are being told that persons with disabilities are not marketable. They don't have the financial power to be able to flush out the money to the people, that people can be able to vote for them. Political parties are not even nominating them. So that is posing a serious challenge, which ourselves cannot be able to handle if there is no clear law that is empowering us, that we can be able to contribute to the well-being of our nation as a people.
When you say the first past the post has failed you, or has failed us, and you say people living with disabilities are told by political parties that they are not marketable, but we have 3 members of parliament who are living with disabilities.
Yes.
Don't you think you're contradicting yourself when say it has failed, when the issue of first past the post has managed to give 3 people living with disabilities victory?
That is a very good question. That's why we have indicated it. I've mentioned it. You see the point, eh? It is a plus, but it is not enough. You've heard I've talked about 2.3 persons with disabilities, and even as we speak, we have people getting to have disabilities as we speak now. The number is increasing. Look at the roads, the decision-making process, the way they are. You see the point, eh? We are being told, no, it was an oversight. For how long? I can give you an example of the voter registration that was just taking place a few months ago. We talked to ECZ that we need to indicate our disabilities. That will help even ECZ itself to make a proper decision of how many sign language interpreters they are going to take to a certain polling station after knowing how many deaf people are there. How many braille jackets to take to a polling station after knowing how many blind people are there. Do you know what they have done? They have just deleted my disability and just indicated eligible. Who said and told them that eligibility is a disability? It is because we don't have people who are speaking our language and be able to understand what our cries are all about.
When you talk about, the first past the post, failing you people living with disabilities, we have seen political parties calling on everyone who wants to stand on their party tickets to apply. Don't you think people living with disabilities don't want to take a step by, trying to apply on to stand on these, various political parties? And also, you've touched the issue of financial muscles. We have heard political parties sponsoring candidates. Don't you think it is easy for them to sponsor a candidate who is living with disabilities, so long they show interest to say, I am equal to the task and I want to stand?
Interest, we've got testimonies. We've got testimonies
of people that
have been put aside, like a certain lady from our technical working group. she went to join a political party, and she was all she was told was, since simuyenda imumizinga nkori muzamba kupika pano tikabwera tikadya naye mumwenda kunyumba mukadya. But doesn't she cook at her place? Hasn't she got food? All she wanted is to participate equally on an equal basis with others in the political system. But they have decided now to say she should remain behind and cooking for them when they go out. When they come back, they come and eat, and she also goes back home. Is that the participation that she wanted? No. These political parties that you are seeing, saying we are funding, we are sponsoring, come 12th August, you are going to tell me how many persons with disabilities are going to be nominated in these political parties. In these political parties, they'll put aside most of persons with disabilities. Those who do not have the financial muscle, they'll put them aside. Others, they will not even, they don't even have what we call a figure, a ring-fenced number of how many persons with disabilities they are able to support in their system, even in their manifestos. You see the point, eh? They've got the youth wings. They've got the women's wing. You understand, eh? But here is a woman, here is a youth with a disability. Why don't they create a wing for that particular a group of people and be able to support them? Because you can't prepare together fish and carpenter, and just because all these are coming from the river. They are different. They are different. We need to say these are persons with disabilities. Let us look at their needs. And it is them that know how they can be able to be provided for. So most political parties, they don't have a clear roadmap of how they can support persons with disabilities. Those are just rhetorics, and those rhetorics, we have heard them several times.
Zambia has signed a number of charters, or is a signatory to a number of agreements.
Yes.
And they have agreed that they are going to include persons living with disabilities in decision making. And like you've said, they are rhetorics. What do you think is making the policymakers and those that are in government, as well as political parties, not to actualize and start walking the talk based on the commitments that they have committed themselves? What is it that is making them not to start walking the talk? I can simply tell you to say that maybe to give a clear picture of what you have alluded to, the question that you have posed. Zambia is a signatory to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which is mainly called the UNCRPD. And this UNCRPD is ratified and signed in Zambia. It was signed. And then in 2012, we have the Disabilities Act number 6 of 2012 was enacted into law. But is it operational? It's not fully operational. Does it speak to most of the laws that we have as a country? It doesn't. You see the point, eh? We can try to utilize this same particular law. Certain laws are not getting in line with it. Look at the political parties. The languages they use when they talk, they have that chance to talk about persons with disabilities in their manifestos. They are calling us handicapped, persons who are in need of charity. So if the law a political party has attaches me to charity, what do you think they will act on? Because that is their policy. So they'll put me aside and wait for me to be given what remains. But now, what is mainly causing this is the policies. That's why we cannot blame directors in the offices. We have a serious bone to chew with the lawmakers. Who are members of parliament?
Yes.
And among them, there are three.
We have three.
People living with disabilities.
Yes,
among them, there are 26 women.
But the three, do they interact with persons with disabilities? Are they affiliated to any disability organization? Those are the questions that we need to ask.
So Mr. Bwale, are you saying the three members of parliament that we have who are living with disabilities are not affiliated to groups.
If there's anyone,
the groups that are championing rights of people living with
if there's anyone, I would be happy to be told that they belong to such an organization. Because with me, as an executive director for New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia, I sit in most of the meetings, the programs that we've been running as ZAFOD. I've never seen any. And if a blind person says, I've never seen, it is surely that they have never seen. That any of them coming. But that doesn't mean that we are putting them aside as not as persons with abilities. They are persons with abilities. But we don't want them to make decisions basing on their feelings. Because if they are basing on their feelings, there are some who have disabilities and they don't feel vulnerable. They don't feel marginalized. But the people on the streets who are suffering, who do not have the face mask today because of the decisions that are made, are the ones who are suffering. And that is why we are saying equal participation in political and public life must come through the mixed member electoral system, which is not going to delete the first past the polls. They will run side by side.
Now, Mr. Bwale,
Yes.
like you've put it, Zambia signed, to these protocols or these commitment, and also we've got 3 members of parliament, people living with disabilities, and one may wonder that why do you think this mixed member electoral system is important, and if at all, do you think it's going to answer your cries that you have? Despite having these laws and commitments in place, but nothing has been achieved. Very little has been achieved, rather. But do you think this mixed member electoral system will be able to answer your cries? And if at all, it will be able to answer your cries, how?
Okay. Yeah. This mixed member electoral system, it will answer our cries. And how it will answer our cries? Our numbers will continue growing. Will continue growing. Our numbers will continue growing. Remember, I said we are proposing 10 members from one member from one province. And then, if there are some that are going to be picked by the political parties through the mainstream, if even the article in the Constitution, Article 259C, is going to be utilized that time, then our numbers will be more. And we are going to have the same understanding where we say, now this law, they are saying they are doing this. How is it favoring us as persons with disabilities? Once the decision is made by people who understand what disability is and the problems that persons with disabilities are going through, definitely a change will be there and it will be supported. And it is a model that we also want to use to counsel others who think that persons with disabilities cannot contribute effectively to the well-being of our nation, because we are simply saying, think disability, think development.
Now, when you talk about one person living with disabilities representing a province or coming from a province and having 10 in total, plus those that will be, adopted by various political parties,
yes.
And God willing, if God blesses them, they manage to win, then the numbers will continue to grow. Can you tell us, the 10 that you're proposing, are they going to be voted the same way that those that will be adopted will be voted for using the first past the poll, or what sort of mechanism are you proposing that should be done to have the 10 in the House?
That's a very good question. These 10 will be voted the way we did the referendum last time, 2016. Huh? Yes, we had the referendum this side, and then we have the candidates this side. So we are saying for this province, people can vote for this person with a disability who has got the qualification. We are not saying that the qualification should be reduced. You see the point? Huh? The qualifications that one should have are the same qualifications that are in the Constitution, but will have passed through all the stages that are provided. And we have our position paper on how all those stages will be like. So what we are just asking is that the government can give us a listening ear, the political parties can give us, the opposition and others can give us a listening ear and listen to us on how we are going to go about this. And we are very much ready to discuss this at a detailed level so that they can be able to know exactly what our plans are as persons with disabilities and how we would like to bring in our members that they can be there in the parliament.
When you say you are ready to talk to these political parties or policymakers, have you just been proposing on yourselves as ZAFOD and your affiliated members?
Yes.
Or you've approached political parties
we
before,
you've
approached the policymakers before,
you've
approached the parliamentarians before, and if you've done that, what has been their response?
Their response, you know, in most cases, most political parties, they would want to be very polite. They would want to be very polite because they may think that the way they handle us, if they see a blind person, but you know. But what we want is us to be taken the way we are. If they want to tell us, Vane, we have tried, but most of you don't have the qualifications. They should come out like that. And then we're going to pull up our socks. You see the point, huh? If they've got a challenge with us, let them face us. It is us who are asking for this. And it is not just asking, it is our inherent right. We were born with that, the right to say we are Zambians. And if they are able to participate and we are even able to vote for them to be in power, why can't they also vote for us? Should we just be there to vote for them? No. So what we are saying is that the political parties, we have interacted with them. Most of them have been so flexible with us, saying that no, we are going to change our manifestos. Yes, we have agreed that the language hasn't been very polite. We are not in line with the law. Some of them have even called to say, no, we are working on that. After talking to them, they have called, we are working on that. Others are even having chairpersons as political parties. They have even brought in persons with disabilities as chairpersons for disability wings.
No. When you say you want to be taken the way you are, but yet you are still proposing that, as if you are still proposing to be treated, you know, differently. To be pampered. When you are saying you are ready to be treated the way you are, why can't you just say, okay, let's just leave it the way it is, and the first past the poor, let's just encourage our members to apply, and let us continue knocking on these political parties to make sure that they adopt people living with disabilities, and also calling on the people living with disabilities to say, please let us come into numbers. And on the voting day, let us vote for our very own. Don't you think that will be that will be an easy thing to do than you proposing that we go or we have a mixed member electoral system? On the other hand, you're still saying you want to be treated the way you are.
Okay, that's a very good question. This is a situation whereby many people do not know what we persons with disabilities go through, starting from the education system itself. Remember, the political system in Zambia today, they are talking about grade 12 certificate.
Yes.
The degrees have been said, put them aside.
The minimum is grade 12.
Grade 12. You see the point, eh? I was at Mnadi. Did my grade 12 at Mnadi. Some of my results went missing. Who lost them? Not me. I had to go back and rewrite. Where did I get the money? No one knows. What our parents go through, especially the mothers, they are abandoned by our fathers. And then this poor woman goes back to look for money to pay for my school so that I can be able to have the qualifications that are being demanded for. Where do I get the money to flash out to different people that I'm standing? I don't have the financial muscle. That is what they have capitalized on.
Why do you think money is what
it is the culture which has been cultivated. It is the culture that has been cultivated.
And you don't think you can invent a new culture to say
this is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. We are saying, allow us to be in parliament through mixed member electoral system. You'll see how we are able to perform. because there's the culture of insulting in the politics. You see the point, huh? I do not have the money. They will first start insulting. Instead of discussing issues, they will insult my disability. Just like it happens with women. A woman goes into politics, they start, instead of discussing issues, they start discussing her private life. What we are interested in as persons with disabilities is not people's private life or lives or disabilities or whatever. What we are interested in is what we are able to put on the table as persons with disabilities. Quite right, yes, we may not have the money because of the systems, but we have the brains. We have the brilliant ideas that we can put on the table and be able to take Zambia to another level. Because if you have never tasted a lemon, why should you refuse and say it's a bad thing? Try it. Then you are going to have the correct answer. And the reasons will be valid. But we as persons with disabilities, we are able to run organizations effectively. Why can't we be able to say, yeah, in Parliament? We are able. Even in sign language, yeah, is there. So there's nothing that is a barrier. A barrier is just the mindset of the Zambians.
Now, Mr. Bwale, when you say, even you can manage to say, yeah, in Parliament, today people are trying to discourage those members of Parliament that only say, yeah, and question in Parliament because they don't read and understand the laws that they are passing. And are you trying to insinuate or are you trying to propose that your primary goal is to go to Parliament and enjoy the yeah, and question?
I just wanted to give you a picture of what happens there. They are making laws, others are quiet. There are some people who do follow these parliament proceedings. On radio, on TV, we follow them. There are some people who have stayed there for 5 years. 14th May, yes. They'll be dissolved. Maybe they have just spoken, maybe not less than 15 times. What are they doing?
And you feel you can do better?
More better than those. And you know, if I tell you, you vote for a person with a disability in your constituency and give them the opportunity to make that place better, they will make it better so that you can, even in your sleep, you can walk. Because the challenges that they have gone through are just too much. And to do away with those challenges, they would want to make that place better. So, who is going to benefit more between the person with a disability and the person without a disability? That's why we are also telling the lawmakers that don't start thinking about disability when you acquire a disability. Time is now. Age can make you have a disability. Diabetes can make you to have a disability with the good food that you are enjoying. So these are the issues that we are saying. Appreciate disability. Don't sit and start judging persons with disability from the terraces. This is not football. This is real life. And this real life we are talking about is talking about the lives of Zambians, whom you are asking to come and vote for you. Support them in the way that you can.
This is the assignment. Today, the 21st of March, 2021. My guest on the program is Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia, which is also a member of ZAFOD. And we are talking about what electoral system best suit Zambia. We are discussing their proposals. They want a mixed member electoral system to be operationalized in Zambia, and my guest is also visually impaired, and discussing this on Muvi television. Now, moving forward, Mr. Bwale, I would like to understand and know what sort of criteria you are going to use to come up with the 10 representing each and every province of Zambia, because I'm made to believe that in each and every province there are more people that are living with disabilities. What sort of criteria are you going to use? Because I'm skeptical. I'm thinking that, okay, Mr. Bwale, and working together with ZAFOD and other organizations that are looking after the affairs of people living with disabilities, will just choose among themselves and say, okay, Nife to allow Parliament. What sort of mechanism are you going to use to come up with a 10?
That's a very good question. Remember, in my preamble, I did mention when I was introducing ZAFOD, I said ZAFOD is not a political organization, and it has got not less than 15 member organizations. And these member organizations are not just in Lusaka. They are in all the provinces, and all the disabilities are there. So now, if like the way you've asked, in Lusaka, we say those who are willing to go through the mixed member electoral system, can you campaign? You see the point, eh? Can you campaign? They put up their papers and everything. The normal procedure is done, and these people are going to be picked. They just like the way the political parties are doing now. So now there will be now the parallel one, which will be now for persons with disabilities. You see the point, eh? And amongst them, here in Lusaka, one will emerge the winner. You see the point, eh? And on that day, if there are some that have been picked, for instance, if there are 5, they will be there. And you remember why these are, the numbers will grow. Others will come through the mainstream.
Yes.
Through the mainstream, they'll get through the political parties. But the mixed member electoral system, they will not pass through the political party.
Okay.
You see the point, eh? But the main agenda, our agenda, is to see to it that we've got a stronger voice, because we believe in numbers. Why is it that the UN, they have been talking about increase the numbers of women in parliament? They know that the strength is in numbers. And we're even using the law, which is so much dependent on numbers. First past the post. Even by 1 vote, the MP goes through. With 1 vote, the councillor goes through. 50 plus 1, the president is there. So even persons with disabilities will use their own system, which is similar to the political system, the political party system, and then the elections will be there. And then the persons' abilities will be found in parliament and be able to discuss these matters on an equal basis with others and defend their position.
Mr. Bwale, one who is watching and listening to the submissions that you are making will conclude and say Mr. Bwale is proposing that we should have more members of parliament in the House. Currently, our economy is not doing fine. Don't you think you're just adding a burden to have more numbers of members of parliament when we've got other sectors that are in need of finances? Why should we have a bloated parliament when we can still maintain the one that we have and tighten the lucet?
That is very interesting. Of late, the government has been building schools, hospitals. They have been putting in money. That is an investment. When you are investing, you are not expecting to have money there and then, but you are putting in money. So, investment in the knowledge of somebody that you are going to put on the table and contribute to the well-being of the nation is not a wastage of money. It is something that will take our country to another level. To another level, because, remember I said, I'm there in parliament and then bring about an issue that is going to serve persons' abilities, protect persons' with abilities, give them the dignity that they deserve, which is inherent. What wrong has that got? Is that expensive? What is making us ask for all these? It is because 56 years down the line, 56 years down the line, we are seeing no change in the lives of persons with disabilities. It is for that reason that we are called the marginalized. It is not ourselves that have tagged that title on ourselves. The lawmakers, they are the ones who are saying, our colleagues, the marginalized. Others in Bemba, they will say, Mwanayama. How
meaning
fair?
Referring to you people.
Persons with disabilities. You see the point? Vantu. I tell you, my brain is very functional and I can see even through thoughts. So what is important is to appreciate me as a human being and take me on board. Not where people sit under a tree and say, no, for the blind, we'll buy them these beds because they can fall on a bunker bed. Who tells them that blind people just roll like a ball? We reason and we can contribute. Even when we are in meetings, they just see persons with disabilities coming. They are still waiting for the able-bodied to come and say, this is the decision maker, this is the director. They will start asking, director why? Mindset. Mindset change must come into play when it comes to our leaders. Political leaders, they need to change their mindset and appreciate persons with disabilities. And not just appreciating us, but they should appreciate the laws that are in place and make them to speak to each other so that persons with disabilities can participate on an equal basis with others and take our nation to another level.
Before I open the phone line, I'll be able to open the phone line. The number is 0764250055 is the number that you'll be calling. My guest on the assignment is Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia. He's also visually impaired. And we are discussing what electoral system best suits Zambia. They are proposing the mixed member electoral system, that this will be the best. They will have numbers in parliament and their voice or voices will be heard through MMES, which is mixed member electoral system. I'll be opening the phone line. The number is 0764250055. And if at all you've got a question or a contribution to make, Mr. Bwale, my guest, will be able to respond to the questions that you'll be able to pose. Now, Mr. Bwale, you've indicated to say when we send a person living with disabilities, the people that will benefit are the able-bodied or people not living with disabilities. Now one may wonder and say, you've kept on saying we want to speak on our own behalf. Those that are in parliament, others are not representing our views. Are you saying when we have these numbers, maybe let me just put it this way.
Let me just correct you on that one. I said it will benefit even more.
Yes.
Those without disabilities.
Those without disabilities.
Yes, because I can give you another example. You've seen the shopping malls the way they are. They've got the lamps. Because the people are doing that, we had persons with the disabilities in mind. If you look, you go to see the toilets, the spaces in the toilets. They've got even some bars on the walls, where someone can be able to hold and everything. All that. Today, who are the most people rushing to those facilities? Are able-bodied. But the person who was developing that had a person with a disability in mind. The spaces that have been left for persons with disabilities at these shopping malls, you find that persons without disabilities are the ones who are busy parking there because they have seen a space which is not occupied. You see? So, give us the space. See how we are going to perform. And you will see how we are going to enjoy life together as a country.
0764250055 is the number that you are calling in order for you to come through the program and be able to ask a question to my guest, Peter Bwale. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Reduce the volume on your TV set, sir.
Okay, it's on zero.
Okay, your name, sir?
My name is Clarence Muziamba
Mr. Muzamba, you're calling us from where?
from within Lusaka.
From within Lusaka. I have Peter Bwale, who is my guest, Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you, Moderator. Hi, Mr. Peter.
I'm good. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Thank you. It's an interesting program and we are watching.
Thank you.
I must say that we are getting a lot of information as the public, things that we did not even know. Oftentimes, people with disabilities, together with us, the youth and the women, oftentimes we are left out in governance matters. I'm very happy that you are on air and Muvi TV has given you the space so that you can speak for yourselves. Indeed, speaking also on behalf of myself and also the Zambian Empowerment Hub, where we work as a team, we believe in electoral system inclusion, whereby, like you are saying, if we include more people with disabilities, the vision impaired, the blind, or whichever disability. Disability does not mean inability. There you are, Mr. Peter, you're able to articulate issues very fluently, even more than us who are able-bodied. So I think it's a good program, Moderator, and we are hoping that people are listening so they can come to the aid of people like Mr. Peter. Otherwise, you're doing a good job, sir, and keep it up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mzamba.
Okay.
Thank you. That is Clarence from within Lusaka, agreeing with what you are saying, and he's saying they are learning a lot and discovering more things that people are not talking about, and you're speaking. So 0764250055 is the number. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
This is Mr. Mintengwe calling you from the border, Chirundu.
Mintenge from Chirundu.
Chirundu border post. Mr.
Great.
Mintengwe.
Chirundu is listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mintenge. Peter Bwale is my guest. Please go ahead with your contribution.
I'm very grateful. It's so wonderful what Mr. Bwale is articulating. I wish the political parties and the government in particular are listening to such very intelligent and vibrant people with knowledge. I'm humbled to what has been telling the nation. Surely we should not overlook those people with disabilities. I'm so humble, sir. That's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Mr. Mintenge from Chirundu border also coming through and agreeing with what you're saying and hoping that the relevant authorities or those that are in government or in power, let's hope they are listening and following the program with the contribution or the responses that you are giving. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Maninga. This is Nkata speaking.
Please, Mr. Bwale is my guest. Please go ahead and make your contribution.
Yes, Mr. Wallace, continue speaking actually so that everyone can hear and listen from you, because if you interview sometimes the Shawama, our government, so that at least even the government can include the people with disabilities so that they can also speak out what they have. Otherwise, the program is very, very, very good to continue.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 0764250055. I'll pick 3 more calls and then we continue with the discussion. There's still some questions and the clarification that Mr. Bwale will be able to give on the program. Remember, this is the assignment, and my guest on the program is Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia, and we are discussing what electoral system suits Zambia according to them, and together with ZAFOD proposing a mixed member electoral system, saying the first past the polls has failed us or has failed the people living with disabilities, hence proposing the mixed member electoral system. Hello, good evening. We've lost that call. Please, you can still call us. They are saying they are not trying to remove the first past the polls, but it can still work hand in hand with the mixed member electoral system which they are proposing. Now, Mr. Bwale, as we are still waiting for people to call, like I've mentioned, that I'll be able to pick 3 more calls before we get back to our discussion. So far, we've received 3 calls, or 3 callers, calling one from within Lusaka, the other from Manyinga, and the other one from the border town of Chirundo, and they seem to agree with what you are saying. 0764-250055 is the number that you are dialing. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. We've lost that one. Now, based on the submissions that you've made so far, Mr. Bwale, let me pick this call. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good evening. Very fine, sir. Reduce the volume on your TV set. We've lost that call. Okay, for now, we suspend the calls. Based on the submissions that you've made, you are saying, try us, give us space. That is what you're saying. Give us space. Any relations between the mixed member electoral system, is there any relation between the mixed member electoral system and butane? Because we are told by politicians, especially those who are supporting butane, to say we are concerned about people living with disabilities, and that is why we are proposing in butane to answer the cries that have been made by the people living with disabilities.
Interesting. I wish they knew when they're pushing such issues.
When you say you wish they knew,
because there's something that happened before butane. You know, ZAFOD has not been a white elephant. ZAFOD has been actively working, doing a lot of work involving the political parties, and some institutions have been taken to court, and we've won a case. For instance, like I would give an example, the case between ZAFOD and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, which we won as ZAFOD on behalf of persons with disabilities in Zambia. And the judgment is there. So, 2011, and butane came when?
2019.
2019. How many years? 8 years down the line. So someone cannot just wake up and say, no, we are just doing this for these people. As we started a long time, and that's why we have continued, even if the butane was put aside. That's why we have continued, because we know that we started this fight, and it is not for any political party. It is for persons with disabilities who can be in any political party, because ZAFOD is not a political party.
When you say you wish they knew, we saw people living with disabilities being paraded or standing together with members of parliament who were pushing for butane and saying, in butane there is a clause that will answer your cries. And they were very happy. And even when butane failed, we saw people living with disabilities crying foul, pointing fingers at those that voted against the bill to say, you don't care for us.
The reason would be very simple. The reason would be very simple. To begin with, butane was a big document. It had different issues. If they wanted to discuss that, they were going to discuss item by item, looking at what are the advantages and disadvantages, than saying, no, everything is not okay. With us, our interest was on that particular Article 9 of that butane, which was talking about the mixed member electoral system. And that was our major interest, because it spoke to what we had. That's why I was even talking about, if the documents are able to talk to each other, the policies, we will have a good Zambia. And the ruling will not be a problem. You know that even a person who has a serious disability can rule the nation if the policies are in place. Because the implementers will just implement what is already there. So the only challenge that we have is people don't want to utilize the policies and be able to read. Be able to read and find out from the people that are affected, how is it going to benefit you? If we have a difference between you and me, we need to have a referee. Not when we differ, you and me, I start now insulting your shoe. Your shoe, does your shoe think? No.
Mr. Bwale, we're winding down. As we're winding down, you touched an important issue of the judgment, or the issue that you took to court and you won as ZAFOD on behalf of people living with disabilities. And in that judgment, the Electoral Commission of Zambia were told on the things that they needed to do. Tell us, from 2011 and where we are now in 2021, we've had elections before. By elections, we had 2015 elections and 2016 elections. Are you able to confirm with us and the people that are watching that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has taken into consideration or responded according to the judgment?
It's a yes and a no. Because some of the things, yes, have been done.
Like?
Issues to do with the having dialogue with us, discussing on what should be done and what should not be done for us, because it is only us who can tell a better story about ourselves. So engagement is there and it's ongoing. However,
between people living with disabilities and the Electoral Commission?
Yes. However, the challenges are that you agree today, tomorrow they do something that is contrary. You see the point? Huh? I'll give an example of the voter registration which was taking place. That voter registration, we discussed with them that at least our disabilities should appear on the voter's card. And we registered those. But on verification, the phone number, the number they gave, trying to verify, entering our details, on the disability it says eligible. Me, I'm blind, and then you say eligible. How are you going to prepare for me at that polling station where I'm going to vote from? Are you going to bring the brown ballot or the brown jacket there? How are you going to know? That is another wastage of government resources, because they will print a lot of them because they don't know the numbers. They will take people to places where they are not deaf people to go there and be sign language interpreters. They will get the lamps and put them where there are no persons with physical disabilities. Misplacement of resources. Is that not a deliberate move? When someone tells you, I don't want this portion of food, I need just a drink, and then you go ahead and bring the food. It is a challenge. That's why we are saying that involve us from the start up to the scratch as persons with disabilities. That's why we are saying that the first past the polls has failed us as persons with disabilities, because we are not having our own voice in Parliament, but through mixed member electoral system, we'll be there and we'll say what is best and better for us to take our mother Zambia together with the able-bodied to another level.
When you kindly share with us the experience that you've had from 2011 after that judgment. Have you been given different ballots, people that are living with disabilities like yourself, visually impaired, or you've been using the same ballots that, the people without visually impaired impairment have been using? And if at all you've been using the same, how has been the experience? How have you voted?
Yeah, the voting hasn't changed really much. The ballot paper is the same, except that they have introduced the ballot jacket. This ballot jacket is more like an envelope, and then it has got windows. And these windows, in this ballot jacket, you slot in there the ballot, and on those windows there are faces or names. But the question is, if I touch on that window, feeding on that ink paper which is there, am I going to know that this is candidate X I want to vote for, or what? My guide can even vote twice because my ballot is not secret. It is open. I go home celebrating that I've voted for my candidate. What is my guide, my assistant, has made me tick on his candidate. He has voted twice, me have voted none. So we want information that is easy, is accessible to us, easy to read and understand. Not all persons with disabilities cannot write. So we need our own voice.
Mr. Bwale, thank you so much for making an appearance on the assignment.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. I hope to come back anytime soon and be able to clarify a number of issues. ZAFOD is a disability organization. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us on 0977 78 50 99.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been the assignment. My name is Kelvin Tabola, Chief Focal. My guest has been Peter Bwale, who is Executive Director of New Foundation of the Blind in Zambia, which is also a member, who is also a member of ZAFOD. We've been talking about mixed member electoral system, MES, and asking a question: what electoral system best suits Zambia? Many thanks to Mavuto Piri, the director, also the producer of the program. Until next time, good night.